Imagine arriving at the airport feeling fully prepared. Your toiletries are neatly packed, your power bank is charged, and your boarding pass is ready to go. Everything seems smooth until you step into the TSA checkpoint and suddenly security officers begin removing items from your bag one after another. No warning. No negotiation. No second opportunity. Not because you intentionally violated a rule, but because updated 2026 carry-on regulations are catching thousands of travelers off guard. These new policies don't make exceptions for first-time flyers, elderly passengers, or sealed brand-new products. The rules apply to everyone equally. And this isn't based on online rumors or travel myths. These are real security procedures being enforced at major airports around the world, especially for flights connected to the United States, Europe, and other countries following international aviation standards. In this breakdown, you'll discover 7 common carry-on mistakes that can instantly lead to confiscated belongings, long security delays, or even a missed flight. The surprising part is that the number 1 mistake on this list used to be perfectly acceptable, but now it's one of the quickest ways to get flagged at airport security. Let's begin with rule number 7. Liquids exceeding 100 milliliters are now being enforced more aggressively than ever before. Most travelers already know about the classic 3-1-1 liquid rule, where containers must stay under 100 milliliters and fit into a single clear quart-sized bag. That policy has existed for years, but what changed in 2026 is the level of enforcement. In the past, TSA officers sometimes used personal judgment and occasionally ignored slightly oversized items if they were sealed or appeared harmless. That flexibility is disappearing because modern scanners now handle much of the detection process automatically. These systems don't consider context or intent. If a container exceeds the limit, it is immediately flagged and removed. One major trap involves duty-free liquids purchased inside airports. Many travelers believe sealed duty-free items are automatically safe, but if you pass through another security checkpoint during a connecting flight, especially in the United States, those products can still be confiscated. Security is also strictly applying the one-bag liquid limit now. Travelers who once managed to sneak through with multiple bags are increasingly being forced to throw extras away on the spot. The reality is simple. If a liquid container holds more than 100 milliliters, don't place it in your carry-on, regardless of where it was purchased or whether it's unopened. In today's airports, technology makes the final decision, not the officer standing beside the scanner. Rule number 6 involves oversized power banks, one of the most misunderstood carry-on issues today. Many passengers assume they're safe as long as the battery capacity looks reasonable, but TSA regulations focus on watt-hours, not milliamp hours. The maximum permitted limit is generally 100 watt-hours, and anything beyond that can be confiscated immediately. The problem is that many travelers have no idea how to identify this number. Some power banks display watt-hour ratings clearly, while others hide them in tiny print or don't show them at all. If security officers can't verify the rating, the device may be rejected automatically. What makes this situation even more confusing is that power banks are prohibited in checked luggage because of fire risks, but units exceeding the watt-hour limit are also prohibited in carry-ons. That means certain batteries cannot legally travel on the aircraft at all. High-capacity models, particularly many 30,000 mAh devices, can quietly exceed the limit depending on their voltage specifications. So, the backup battery you packed for convenience could easily become the reason security stops you. If the watt-hour rating isn't clearly visible or if the device exceeds the allowed threshold, leaving it at home is often the safest choice. Rule number 5 catches travelers by surprise because it involves food items that appear completely harmless. Domestic travel may allow many homemade or packaged foods without issue, but international flights follow far stricter agricultural and liquid regulations. Countries such as the United States, Canada, Australia, and many European nations closely monitor incoming food products. Fresh fruits, vegetables, and raw meat are already widely recognized as restricted items, but the confusion begins with foods that don't seem like liquids. Security classifies yogurt, peanut butter, Nutella, jam, sauces, and similar products as liquids or gels. If those items exceed the allowed limit, they are removed immediately. Many travelers unknowingly pack cultural foods, sauces, fermented products, or moist seafood items believing small quantities will be overlooked. Unfortunately, airport security focuses on classification rather than personal intent. Once an item falls into a restricted category, explanations rarely change the outcome. The safest approach is to avoid carrying fresh or semi-liquid foods through security and instead place them in properly sealed checked baggage if absolutely necessary. Rule number 4 involves medications, and this is where airport screenings can become stressful very quickly. Medications are essential for many passengers, yet improper packaging remains one of the leading causes of additional questioning at security checkpoints. In 2026, loose pills stored in travel organizers are receiving far more scrutiny than before. TSA officers no longer view weekly pill containers as sufficient proof of legitimacy because unidentified substances raise security concerns. Travelers are now strongly encouraged to keep medications in their original prescription bottles displaying the patient's name, dosage details, and prescribing doctor. Liquid medications larger than 100 milliliters are still allowed, but supporting medical documentation may be required. Passengers carrying injectable treatments such as insulin may also need to explain why syringes or needles are necessary during travel. One critical issue many travelers overlook is name consistency. The name printed on the prescription label should match the identification being used for travel exactly. Security agencies are increasingly alert to smuggling attempts involving medication containers, so mismatched names can trigger lengthy questioning even for completely legitimate passengers. Carrying printed prescriptions, a medication list, and proper documentation can prevent serious delays at security checkpoints. Rule number 3 focuses on loose lithium batteries, which airlines now treat as a major safety concern. Spare rechargeable batteries may appear harmless, but if battery terminals touch metal objects or other batteries, they can short-circuit and generate dangerous heat. Inside an aircraft cabin, that risk becomes extremely serious. Because of this, security rules now require spare batteries to remain protected at all times, either inside original packaging, dedicated battery cases, or with taped terminals. Unprotected batteries may be confiscated immediately. Another important detail is that these batteries must travel inside carry-on baggage rather than checked luggage, allowing cabin crews to respond quickly if something goes wrong. Devices containing lithium batteries, including electronic toothbrushes, portable fans, vapes, and e-cigarettes, also fall under strict guidelines. Many travelers forget that vape devices are only permitted in carry-on bags and are completely prohibited from being used on board. Violating those rules can lead to severe penalties and legal consequences. Rule number 2 affects domestic travelers inside the United States and centers around real ID compliance. Beginning in 2025 and continuing into 2026, TSA enforcement became much stricter regarding accepted identification. Many standard driver's licenses are no longer valid for domestic air travel unless they meet real ID standards, which are typically marked by a star symbol on the card. Travelers arriving with non-compliant identification may be denied boarding entirely. Many people assume older licenses will continue working because they flew successfully in previous years, only to discover at the airport that regulations have changed. Valid passports can still serve as acceptable alternatives, but expired passports combined with non-compliant IDs can leave passengers unable to board domestic flights at all. Since obtaining a real ID requires documentation and processing time, waiting until the final days before travel can easily ruin an entire trip. Finally, rule number 1 involves facial recognition systems and the growing use of biometric screening at airports. Modern terminals increasingly rely on automated face scanning systems to speed up passenger verification. Travelers simply look into a camera, and their face is matched with passport or travel records within seconds. While passengers still have the legal right to opt out of facial recognition for privacy or personal reasons, many don't realize what happens next. Declining biometric scanning usually transfers travelers into manual screening lines, where the process becomes significantly slower. Instead of passing through quickly, passengers may face long waits, additional document verification, and extra questioning. During busy travel periods, these delays can stretch to 30 or even 45 minutes. Choosing privacy remains a personal right, but many travelers underestimate how heavily airports now depend on automated systems for speed and efficiency. In the end, these 7 rules all point toward one reality: airport security is becoming more automated, more standardized, and far less flexible than in the past. Oversized liquids are immediately removed. Restricted batteries are confiscated. Certain foods are flagged without discussion. Improperly labeled medications attract scrutiny. Invalid IDs stop passengers from boarding. Opting out of facial recognition slows everything down. These rules aren't necessarily meant to punish travelers, but airports no longer pause operations simply because someone was unaware of the changes. In modern air travel, preparation matters more than ever, and those who fail to stay informed often learn the hard way at the security checkpoint itself.